Well, it's the final week of the W Series Esports League and we're off to Silverstone. But last week, the championship was won and it went to the driver who has led the race right since the very first outing. It's Bajtska Visser.
Visser does take the lead on this race. It's the second race victory of the day then for Visser. It's all about Visser. Side-by-side action then between the Dutch and the Spanish drivers. Unbelievable action, showing the dominance. Incredible to see the talent coursing through that woman's vein. Visser, week in, week out, race in, race out. Beautiful bit of work there. Bajtska Visser then is going to take the victory. Our first ever champion is Bajtska Visser.
Well, for our final fling, I'm once again joined by Luke Crane and Billy Munger. Billy, the thing about Bajtska is that even when a race didn't go her way, i.e. she didn't win, which was the maximum, she was always there or thereabouts, getting fastest laps, maximising her points, and that was the difference.
Yeah, in a league and any sort of championship, especially when it comes to motorsport, you're always inevitably going to make a mistake at some point. I mean, it just happens, especially when you're fighting for wins and victories all the time. You're pushing the limit every time you go out in the car. So for her to be so consistent and so sort of clever with how she sort of played it throughout the whole league, never making too many mistakes, putting herself in difficult situations, yeah, she really nailed it.
Look, last week when I spoke to Bajtska, I said to her, what would your tactics be for Silverstone? Will you relax? Will you stay off the sim and enjoy it? Or will you go flat out? Then she said she didn't think she was able to be here. So my goodness, it's a good job she won it when she did.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said last week, Lee, actually, it's a racer's dream to win it before the final round, and she managed to do it, but there was no one else really in her league across the whole series. The fact that she was able to find that extra gear, pardon the pun, when Marta Garcia really did find herself at the top of the timesheets was just second to none, really, and she fully deserves a championship.
Well, let's just remind ourselves of what's happening in the standings, because there are still a few places up for grabs. As we've talked about, Visser is our inaugural W Series Esports League champion. 68 points behind her is Marta Garcia, and currently sitting in third is Ira Sidorkova. Nerea Marti is fourth and will be looking to wrestle third place away from the Russian, but it could also go the way of Tasman Pepper or even Caitlin Wood. Agron and Belen Garcia are both tied on 187 points. Sarah Moore is ninth, and then a bit of a gap back to the rest of the field. And of course, as we get further down, not every driver has attended every week, hence the difference in points. So still a few places up for grabs, and whilst no prize money at stake, there is still an awful lot of pride. Now, I mentioned that last week I spoke to Bajtska Visser. This week it was the turn of Luke.
Was there any point of this whole esports league where you thought, I might not be able to get this done? Marta, of course, really improving in the second half of the season. Was you worried at all at any point?
Well, I've been very strong from the beginning, and quite early on, I had a good lead, so I could afford a bad result here and there. So at some point, I was pushing quite a lot, and I made a few mistakes because I was overdoing it a little bit, but. Yeah, as I had a big lead, I could afford to do those things.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor for me was how impressive you were in race 2. Each week, race 2, of course, being the full reverse grid. And a lot of the other drivers, I guess your rivals, Marta Garcia, she improved as the season went on. Ira Sidorkova was a bit of a specialist in terms of the race number 2 at the start of the season, but you every single week managed to carve your way through the field and get those big results, which indeed gave you that big gap to win the season. What was your mindset going into those races?
In the beginning, I just tried to push, but then the first 2 rounds I had damage after the first lap, and yeah, on the sim that's costing you quite a lot of time. So even though I still managed to finish in good positions, I was losing quite a lot because of the damage. So after that, I tried to hold myself back a lot on the first lap. At some point, I was even just driving half throttle on the first lap to just avoid everything. And yeah, apart from I think Spa and Suzuka, I managed to have good reverse grid races everywhere.
Yeah, Suzuka. Well, that was a very special day for me as a commentator anyway, with you and Marta. Some of the best racing, whether it be real or whether it be virtual, I have ever seen. So it's for you being the leader of the championship, you're winning race after race. to see an improvement from you is a lot tougher than any other driver, because of course there were drivers finishing maybe 15th, 16th, week 1, week 2, and then they sort of got themselves into the top 10, top 5s. But for me, as someone who's watched motorsport for a long time, I saw a huge improvement from you from week 1 to week 9. How many hours were you putting in a week to practice for these events?
It's hard to say. I mean, obviously, I improved a lot from week 1 to the end because I only got my simulator in April. So, and even now, I think I am still far away from pro sim drivers. So I still have a lot to learn now. But yeah, how many hours I put in, it depended on week per week. Like especially last couple of weeks. Yeah, as my real racing has started again, I have not always been home, so it has been a bit less. But in the beginning, I tried to do it quite a lot.
Yeah, we all look forward to seeing you in the race car, whatever it may be in the future. Well, from me as a commentator, it's been an absolute pleasure commentating on you battling with other drivers and, for the most part, battling with yourself across this esports championship. And congratulations on being the inaugural W Series Esports League champion.
Thank you.
Well, great to hear from Bike Scout, and also fantastic she's getting these extra opportunities. Now, for the final time, let's just remind ourselves of the format. We have 3 races tonight. Race 2 is, of course, that reverse grid and how race 1 finished up, and there are points from 1st to 15th. So let's get to qualifying for race 1 with Luke and Billy.
Thank you, Lee. It's finale time. It's the home of racing. It's Silverstone for the W Series Esports League. My name's Luke Crane, and I am joined by Billy Munger. How you doing, mate?
I'm excited for this one. Last one of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. This circuit is wide, it's fast, it's frantic, and there's no Visa to take up some of the big points positions. So that battle for 3rd spot, huge opportunity for these drivers to really, really get those big points and make that, the podium, if you like, at the end of the season.
Yeah, it's a chance for a perfect weekend as well. I mean, Marta Garcia, who's been a solid second to Visser, she is going to be in a good contention to take some of those big points away from the girls battling for 3rd. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can level their game up when they need to.
Yeah, Silakova as well, who started off the season so strongly. We thought she was going to be really pushing Visser for the entirety of this competition. Didn't quite work out as it stands, but, big opportunity today. Neria Marti, by the way, has gone pole position, but then, as quickly as I say it, it's been Marta Garcia that takes it onto pole position the first time, then just under the 2-minute mark of 1:59.748. And Billy, well, as much as the audience would love to hear me talk about Silverstone and my virtual experience, let's hear about some real experience. What's Silverstone like to race at?
Silverstone's one of those circuits. I mean, the high-speed section at Silverstone for me, especially driving in Formula 3 and stuff like that, which I've got experience in, it is one of the most challenging parts of the circuit. But when you get it right and when you're in a real rhythm around there, because this is a real rhythm track, you need to take your time, build up, sort of feel the car underneath you, and it's just quite incredible going through Maggots Beckett's left, right, high speed, like barely lifting off the throttle, the car's moving around underneath you. Yeah, it's just everything that a racing driver wants in terms of a thrill of a circuit, it gives you.
Yeah, it's like one of those circuits, Ben, where like you have 3 sectors that are genuinely 3 sectors as well, where you notice the difference between sector 1, 2, and 3. Normally, let's look at Monza, for instance, it's very similar throughout the whole circuit. But with Silverstone, you've almost got 2 circuits in one.
Yeah, you do. You have that. You've got Maggots Beckett's, you've got Chapel. Again, like I said, lots of high-speed stuff. But then you've also got the last sector, Club Vale, where we saw Lewis Hamilton coming across the line with 3 wheels on his wagon. So, I mean, it'll be pretty impressive if any of the drivers out there today could do the same thing.
Yeah, well, let's not wish that upon them, Billy, first and foremost. Let's hope that all drivers finish with 4 wheels today. But I'm not opposed to some drama here at Silverstone. I'm sure it will happen. It's been, especially race number 2. Race number 2 is, I like to call Carnage Race, as indeed it is a full reversal from race number 1. Marta Garcia, though, still currently in that provisional pole position spot. She has got 1 more lap after this remaining. She's done a 1:59.748. Marty then is a Spanish front row as it stands. And as I say that, it is now Caitlin Wood onto the front row of the grid. So every time I mention something, it indeed changes. A little bit faster then for Marta Garcia, 59.578 then. Wood then second. Marty is in third. Silakova in the top 4 right now. Pepper is in the top 5, right? And I think she's the dark horse to get a couple of victories today. I think she's been building and building and building, getting solid results week in, week out, as far as sort of week 4 onwards has gone. Could she potentially get a win here at Silverstone?
I mean, we've seen sort of, again, like I say, Visser Garcia, them two have been the real dominant people over the last few events. Garcia at the minute, 2 tenths advantage to Woods, so Woods really her closest rival in terms of 1 lap quali pace, but this circuit doesn't allow you to race properly and race hard. So I think if you starting inside the top 5 on the grid, so Pepper there, she's just sneaking into that she's about 8 tenths off the pace in a minute. So for me, although you can race if you're up the front, I feel like you need to be sort of within that sort of half a second sort of window. So for me, it's going to be one of the top 3 on the grid at the minute. Marty, Whittle, Garcia, I think they're going to be. I mean, they may sort of streak away a little bit during the race.
I'm sure we've talked about this before in terms of a racing driver's circuit. Silverstone is very much one of those circuits. Can you explain to the audience who may not understand what that means, Well,
I mean, it's every driver's different to some extent, but there are just some circuits you go to where most 9 out of 10 drivers absolutely love the place, and Silverstone is that. Like I say, it just gives you a lot of mixture of different feelings across the lap. You've got to get the car tuned into the high speed, the slow speed. There's lots of the Hangar Straight, Wellington Straight. Obviously, there's the history around the circuit as well. So there's plenty of things that you can appreciate, and you can obviously, for me, I pick out sort of like going into Stowe now on board with Tasman Pepper. Nigel Mansell sending a move up the inside into Stowe there back in the day. Just people like that. I remember watching the Grand Prix as well in 2009. It's just got I've got so many memories of Silverstone as a circuit, and when you drive it and you're actually experiencing that for yourself, it's just iconic, really.
I really appreciate there that you've pretended to remember Nigel Mansell going around Silverstone, because it makes me feel a lot younger when we know that is definitely not the case, Billy, at all. But yeah, Stowe, I think, is going to be the key corner around the circuit. Uphill braking zone as well, so drivers can take liberties on their braking, especially on the inside, and potentially with the exit as well. You can run out over the curbs. There may be some opportunities to make a move around the outside if you can pinch a driver onto the apex. But we're nearing the end of qualification here. Then Sarah Moore, who we believe is the only Brit on the grid today, so maybe a chance for her to indeed get the home race victory. That'd be great then for the British fans across the line. She will indeed come, and I feel like this might be a final opportunity. And up to P8. And again, Billy, 1.3 seconds off the pace. We've seen drivers come from a little bit further back to win races. Again, you said it's one of those circuits where people can really race for those positions. She's got a chance.
I mean, you're always in with a chance. I mean, we've seen people win races from sort of further back than that in all disciplines of motorsport before, so there's no reason why that can't be done in the esports world with the W Series final race here at Silverstone. I mean, Tasman Pepper as well, actually, just looking at leaderboard, she's by 0.008 of a second up into P4, so like I said, she's really putting herself there in the hunt to fight for this win at the last round.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be good. Marta Garcia then is your pole sitter. We've got Wood in second, Marty in third, Pepper is in fourth, and then rounding out your top 5 will be Sidorkova. Big opportunity here, though, Billy. Marta Garcia, of course, she's been a bridesmaid during this championship throughout of this series so far. And then with 3 races to go, or maybe, 5 races to go, she really did up her performance. But today, Bicycle's not here, so a big opportunity to really show her dominance. Here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed race 1 of the finale here at Silverstone for the W Series Esports League. Marta Garcia on pole position. Wood is in second, and they are off here as they go up towards turn number 1. Actually, the second phase there by Wood has been exemplary. Up the inside, potentially. And well, I tell you what, she's going to give it a go here. Marta Garcia is going to be squeezed out wide. And now all of a sudden, they've got Neria Marti involved here as well. But I tell you what, Marta Garcia has warded off that pressure so far. But it's Wood still up the inside. Almost a bit of contact between the two. And well, it's Neria Marti that takes full advantage then, so Wood gets boxed in as they head then on towards the back straight here, and Marta Garcia has done everything she needed to do there. Marty's taken full advantage of Wood, and actually Wood's under some severe pressure here from Pepper and Sidorkova. Sidorkova is going to potentially make a 3 wide onto the grass there, indeed behind Pepper. Pepper trying to squeeze her. Wow, what a start we've had here. But contact there between 3 and 4. And well, Sidorkova is going to get a gimme then. And wow, it looks like it was Pepper and Wood who've had it coming together there. Pepper maybe on the brakes a little bit too early. Maybe Wood on the brakes a little bit too late. And that has not gone well at all.
Yeah, it looked like to me that it was actually Tasman Pepper that made contact with the back of the car in front. She maybe was obviously battling with Sidorkova on the entry there into Brooklyn, sort of maybe was looking to the inside, misjudged how early the car in front was braking, and next thing you know, made contact with the back of it, and that's game over at the start of this race. That's not ideal for her so far.
Absolutely spot on there, Billy. My mistake there. I apologise. As we then head up towards the Maggots and Beckett's for the first time here, it is Marta Garcia that leads in 1.5 seconds clear of Sidorkova. Agron then is in third position. And wow, this is a big day for Sidorkova because she looked like she was going to be second quickest in this championship throughout the series so far. And unfortunately, it's just not worked out for her. So she's now battling to hold on to third spot here. But look at this battle then. We've got Hannah Grisham battling for P6 here. Belen Garcia. Is Belen Garcia going to hold on? Yeah, Belen Garcia, they're just coming across the cover. And as you can see here, then Neria Marty trying to come back through the pack as well. Neria, I don't know what she got involved with. She was P2. And oh, there's big contact here as well. And I think that was Sidorkova. So Sidorkova then was going around the wrong way there. She's made a mistake on her own because no one was anywhere near her. Agron now moves up to P2. Vulvend in P3. Marty in P4. Belen Garcia in P5. And Billy, lap 1 here. Wow, it's just full of incident.
It's been incident-filled this first lap. I mean, going down into the first couple of corners, we had some good clean racing. They were all sort of side by side, and now they're still side by side, but there seems to be a lot more contact. It's obviously the last 3 races of the season, and some of these young drivers want good results, and they're clearly pushing pretty hard. You see Tasmin Pepper there; she got front wing damage going into the turn 3 there, and now into turn 4 here at Silverstone. She's trying to hang on to the back of this pack, but with that damage, it's not going to help.
Here, W standing for wacky right now. This is crazy action as we head then down the hanger straight for the second time here. Sorry, that's the wrong one. This is the Wellington straight, isn't it? Billy, you'll have to correct me on that one. I got that completely wrong. But yeah, Marta Garcia is still leading by 3.8 seconds. And who we're on board with right now? We're on board with Tasmin Pepper trying to make her way through here. Hannah Grisham running a little bit wide then as we come onto the old start finish straight here. And yeah, it's been a crazy start here. Sidorkova, we were just mentioning that she had a huge opportunity to potentially wrap up that third position in this championship. And well, it's not gone well again. And that's been the nature of the last 3 weeks, Billy, where race 1 has gone really poorly for the Russian. Yeah,
she's just... mistakes. She's so young and she's got such little experience. Oh, there's contact there. Belen Garcia hitting the back of Kemmerline, and then we've got another spinner out there at Cops Corner. That's high speed, so the fact that she's hit the back of her there, I'm not too sure what's gone on there.
She's just carried a lot more speed then through the corner and just not yielded on the exit. You've got to let go of the gas pedal there. That's just you can't just drive through a car, unfortunately. I know in some racing games you have something called ghosting, but we don't have it in iRacing, so that was just not ideal. Neria Marty here then battling with Belen Garcia, the 2 Spaniards. And well, Neria Marty would have been liking to battle with the other Spaniard for P1 and P2, but that's not how it's worked out here on the first couple of laps, though, as they come through Stowe. Round the final couple of corners here for lap number 2. Still got 10 minutes, 50 seconds to go. But well, Marta Garcia has been absolutely handed an opportunity to win the race here quite comprehensively. And Agron, all of a sudden, finds herself in P2. And I think we're seeing a lot of drivers here, Billy, use the curbs maybe a little too excessively, because we're not only seeing mistakes from drivers having contact with each other, but the curbs are spinning other drivers out as well on their own.
Yeah, I mean, we saw sort of a lot of drivers in Formula 1 when we were here having incidents like that on the curbs and sort of making mistakes because of that. And the nature of this circuit, like I say, it's such a high commitment track that you're committing to the entries, you're being aggressive with your initial steering inputs, and if you don't quite get it right and end up getting down to the curb too early, you end up having to make corrections to that. And it is easy on a circuit like this where there's a lot of long corners, the rear tyres are really screaming at some parts of the track for a bit of ease, really. And you can see here we've got Caitlin Wooden and Grisham. I think Caitlin's got the job done there. That's a great pass into Brooklands. That's quite a regular overtaking spot, especially back in the days when I raced Genetic Juniors and the national circuit. That was quite a hot spot for overtaking around the Silverstone circuit. So there's definitely been a huge change up on this first couple of laps. And like you say, Marta Garcia, she's been handed the victory, really.
Yeah, Grisham, that's the second time in a row she's gone deep into that corner. So you want to get that sorted out for race number 2. And this feels like race number 2 right now. This is race number 2 in disguise as it stands. It's just been complete carnage. It's like a finale. Everyone's kind of on the beach, as they say in football. It's just like, championship's done. We're just going to chill out here and have a bit of fun. And ultimately, it's not been fun for a lot of these drivers. You can see, indeed, the front wings bent up on a lot of cars. Well, Marta Garcia not being one of those. And again, usage of the curb is absolutely key around here because they're almost the width of the car. So to maximize your time around a circuit like this, that's a lot of time you're losing out if you do not indeed use the curbs around here. But Marta Garcia, well, she is plain sailing right now. 6.4 seconds in the lead. Agron in second, and Vulven then currently in P3 as well. This is a great drive from Agron and Vulven. Kept themselves out of trouble, and it could be a potential podium for both drivers here. And we've then got Marty, who finds herself in P4 on the recovery drive now after the incident on lap number 1. We've got Belen Garcia then in P5. We're actually on board now in behind her with Caitlin Belen Garcia's in behind Neri and Marty. So we're on board with Garcia, who's just in behind here. The battle of the Spaniards. As you can see, wow, Belen Garcia able to go on the break so much later there. Locks up, though, on entry and runs out a little bit wide, which is going to hemorrhage a little bit of time. And again, there you go, Billy. You make one mistake at one corner around a circuit such as Silverstone, and indeed it costs you time around multiple.
Yeah, it's like I say, it is a rhythm track. Each corner leads onto the next one. There's lots of corners which are sequence corners where there's a few different lines you can take. So you can kind of set up and move 3 corners before. Or you can obviously lose a position, and that can normally come from making a mistake 3 or 4 corners before. So it's just the nature of the circuit. We can see here right on board Marty as she's coming out of Luffield into Woodcote, that she's fairly in control of Belen Garcia behind her. She's about 3.5 seconds behind Vulvend with 7 or just 8 minutes on the clock. So is there time for her to get the podium? I'm not too sure.
No, I think they may all have a little bit of damage here, whether it be rear or front drivers battling for 4th position right now. I think the one they want to be wary for is Caitlin Wood. I think Wood is going to be the danger moving forward in this race again with 7 minutes odd to go. Vulvend and Agrin are just dropping time. Like Marta Garcia is by far the fastest driver on circuit right now. Agrin is the 2nd fastest driver on circuit, and Vulvend is the 3rd fastest, but they're dropping time to each other hugely here. There's Wood then, who's going past, I believe, Piria. So Piria there currently in P13 with that green car. Caitlin Wood then moves up to P6. So again, we'll be interested to see the timings. And already, yes, Wood is closing in on Belen Garcia and Neria Marty. And the longer it takes for Belen to make the move on Marty here, the more opportunity for Wood to catch up and potentially take on a P4. And we've also seen Vulven's been in the podium position before this championship season, and that was at Bathurst, and it didn't go well in the end. So, you know, you've got to be thinking, if you're in 4th position and someone like Vulven's in front of you, she's been capable of making a mistake before. If you put enough pressure on in terms of gaining time, lap in, lap out, there may be a mistake there again.
Well, I think Marty and Belen Garcia and Wood, all 3 of them know that they've got the upper hand in terms of Agron and Vulvend when it comes down to raw pace. It's just about putting it into practice. And I mean, the 2 Spaniards, yeah, they need to kind of be tactical about this, because with 6, again, I only need about 6 minutes on the clock now, so we're running out of time in this race. It's a fairly long circuit here at Silverstone, just under 2 minutes per lap. So in terms of getting the job done and being in a position to overtake Vulvend near the end of this race, the gap's down a little bit, down to 3 seconds now. It was up at about 3.8 a couple of laps ago, so they are taking time out of Vulvend, even with any potential damage they do have. But like I say, that's probably only about 2-3 laps left of this race, so it's going to be a tricky one to get the job done.
Battle for 3rd though, Marty, big opportunity here. Silikova down in P11 as it stands. Belen Garcia then currently in P5 and Wood in P6. Those 3 drivers are in the hunt. Silikova not so much right now. Again, it's been a race 1 where it's just not gone so well here. And again, Silikova wasn't around anybody when she made her mistake. So again, we haven't seen exactly what's happened, but there was a spin. It's cost her multiple positions, a bit of contact with other drivers as well. And Belen Garcia has been dropped here by Neria Marty. So Marty looks to me, after race 1, maybe favourite to put a challenge to Silikova moving forward in today. Of course, 3 races for you this evening. We've indeed got this race, which is nearly over, 4 minutes 50 seconds to go. We've then got the second race, which is the reverse grid. Everybody loves the reverse grid races. They always throw up the surprises. And then we've got the feature race, which indeed is a little bit longer, and that is race number 3, but that will be dealt with by qualifying as well for the grid. As it stands, though, still Marta Garcia, Agrin, Vulven are your P1, 2, and 3. Marty, now not with that pressure with in behind from Belen Garcia, is now slowly catching up to Vulven. So that battle for the final podium position is starting to warm up here, Billy.
Yeah, it is indeed. Marty's now 2.5 seconds to gap at the minute. So, like I said, the time is coming down. It's about half a second that she took out of that lap. 4 minutes on the clock. See, the time just at Silverstone in general just runs down so quick. That's the issue that these young drivers are going to have. They just are going to run out of laps here to get the job done and get these passes made.
Yeah, if anyone could do it, though, it is Neria Marty. Marta Garcia on board, 10.5 seconds clear It's looking like it's going to be another victory then for her. And well, with Beitska not being in the championship running today, it will make the championship look a little bit more respectable by the end of today. It could be a very, very close gap indeed at the end. And well, you know, in the history books, when we look a few years down the line, no one will be talking about how many races people raced. It'll be how close it was at the top, which is what we want. Absolutely what we want. Agron, 11.1 seconds behind in P2. Vulvend, again, you know, she's got to fight the demons today. Is there that opportunity for her to snag that podium? She's got the pressure from Neri and Marty behind. Marty knows what it's like to be on the podium. So that's going to be an interesting battle here with 3 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Marta Garcia is coming up towards Stowe here. Yes, she is. And yeah, it's going to be close. I think we're going to have maybe 2 more laps remaining of this race. So if Marty can keep closing by around about a second a lap, we may see a fight through the final few corners of the circuit. It's going to be close. It's going to be very, very close indeed. In behind them, Belen Garcia, who's just dropped off now, 2.2 seconds. Wood then is in 6th position, and she was closing in on the 2 Spaniards, but just kind of leveled out as indeed the race has gone on. Grisham, P7. Schiff then is in P8. Kimmerleinen's going to feel very, yeah, she's going to be feeling, I don't know, very annoyed actually. She did nothing wrong there. She may have not carried enough speed through the corner where she was taken out, but she will probably put in a protest and has every right to do so. Pepper in P10. Sidokova in P11 then, 25 seconds, so she's not really going to be able to close in on the top 10. We've got more then in P12, Imperium P13, with Cook in P14. And Billy, it's been not the race we wanted here for the finale. We were expecting it to be fast, frantic and furious, and well, it's just been a bit of a mess.
Yeah, we definitely got frantic the first couple of laps with that indeed. I mean, there was quite a few mistakes. I think obviously the adrenaline's running high. They know it's the last round of the championship, so it's all sort of, they've got everything to sort of gain, but nothing really much to lose in terms of there's a few championship positions up for grabs, but they are more than anything, I imagine they just want to end on a high. So they're obviously going for slightly ambitious moves. A few mistakes in terms of, it looks like general sort of lapse of concentration, and a few of the bits of contact we saw, especially the one involving, like you say, Emma Kimmerleinen that was up at Copse Corner, just as we see Marty go through Copse Corner. Now, like I say, it's a high-speed corner, so when you run into the back of someone on the exit, you normally, in real life, would obviously either lift out slightly and then see it was, but in a way that you could keep the momentum going and get the toe, or just pull to the side. But in that case, it was obviously, like I say, maybe a lapse of concentration more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we don't know exactly what the drivers are going through as these things happen. We just got to call it as we see it. 1.3 seconds now is the difference between P3 and P4. Been quite nice to look at Neri and Marty's on board here and see as to how the gap comes down with 1 lap remaining here. Just a few corners to go. And here we go. And you can see it. And it almost looks like, Billy, she's caught up to within that 1.3 second range where we know toe is just about there, very, very faintly. And almost the jet wash is sort of starting to affect now. Less downforce on the car and not really able to reproduce those lap times.
Yeah, I mean, the toe round Silverstone compared to most circuits is actually, you've got a bigger window normally for a toe round Silverstone. And that's purely because it is a circuit that was based on an airfield. It's very open, very wide. So in terms of sort of the airflow over the car, you get a lot of sort of drag from just running up the straight. So normally, if you're within sort of, rather than say it's 7 tenths at most circuits, if you're within a second, normally you will gain some sort of slipstream effect off the car in front of you. Like I say, just because of the nature of where the track is positioned and how it's built. So as much as you will gain a toe from further back, like I say, the high speed corners of this circuit in particular, and how it's sort of a left right through Maggots and Beckett's, it doesn't really promote close racing through that section. It's very tricky anyway to get close racing through them 2 corners. Here we see Marta Garcia coming through Maggots Beckett's, and this is, like I say, one of the best sections of circuit across the world, using all the inside curb through Maggots and Beckett's. You see there Marta right, compared to the size of these single-seater cars that we're using here in the W Series Esports League, the curbs are literally as wide as the cars.
And yeah, some of you out there thinking that Billy's just here because he's a pretty face, and by God, he has a pretty face. I'm not going to deny that, but well, the facts and statistics are all there. Great to have your insight here, Billy, once again, as Marta Garcia then is about to come around the final few corners and pick up, well, race 1 victory here of 3 There's still 2 more races to go, of course, the reverse grid and indeed the feature race. Around the final corner then, it will be Marta Garcia that takes the checkered flag. And well, with Bajtska Visser not being here, she was definitely the favourite, and she's taken every opportunity upon herself here. Great stuff then from Marta Garcia. It'll be Agron then who finishes in P2. Volvend is just about going to hang on. There's half a second between the 2 drivers here. Might be interesting to see them 2. Here we go. Look how close it is. Around the final corner, and Neria Marti is going to be a drag race here. It definitely is going to be a drag race, and I think that Volvend just about hung on there. It'll be Marti in 3rd. Marti 3rd position. No, Volvend in 3rd position. Crikey. Marti is in 4th and Belen Garcia in 5th spot. And well, that'll be one of the easiest victories that Marta Garcia will ever be handed, Billy.
Yeah, she dominated from start to finish. I mean, Wood did put her under a little bit of pressure through turn 1 and turn 2, made her sort of defend her line. She was quite aggressive with her defending Marta Garcia, and then kind of once that job was done, moving on to the rest of the race, there was obviously lots of carnage happening behind her. And she was just setting fastest lap after fastest lap, extending the gap, controlling her pace. I imagine she still had a little bit left in the tank, and she's our race 1 winner.
Yeah, this might be the last time that these drivers see each other or race against each other before they head onto the real grid next year. So, you've got to leave a marker down. This is an opportunity to go, right, next season, I'm the one to beat. And Sidorkova, she was pretty much looking golden for that P3 in the championship, but now, all of a sudden, under a lot of pressure, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, that was not the ideal start to the 3 races we got here tonight for Sidorkova, making a crucial mistake. It looked like she made that mistake on her own. Obviously, we didn't exactly see the onboard happen. It looked like she'd maybe spun on the exit of Stowe. But yeah, we've just seen mistakes creeping into her driving over the last few events. To start the season, she was really on top form and really challenging Visser on a regular basis. But she's just fallen away at a stage in the series where points really will matter to her.
I wouldn't worry about it, Billy. If it wasn't a mistake on Sidorkova's part, her Twitter fans will definitely let us know about it. That is a fact. Anyway, that's race 1 over and done with. And the winner is Marta Garcia.
Well, Marta Garcia, congratulations. You've won our first race tonight and you're confirmed 2nd in the championship. I know you are pushing hard to try and win this championship, but how do you feel?
Well, thank you. I'm feeling quite good with this win. But yeah, it's already, I think, impossible to win the championship. Even if Bajtska is not racing, she's already won the championship. But I'm happy with the performance in all the season.
I know you'd much prefer to be on track racing, but how much, now that we're at the end of it, have you enjoyed the sim racing?
Well, I actually have enjoyed it quite a lot since the first race. Well, in the first race, I could say I didn't really have so much fun because I was not really good. But since then, I just have been working like really hard on the sim with Sirio as well. Yeah, I think we've seen that I had been improving a lot, and I started to enjoy the sim as well. So yeah, now I can say I enjoy doing sim as well.
Yeah, you're definitely very good. Marta, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Race 2 then of the finale here at Silverstone. It is the reverse grid. We've had the carnage in race number 1. And well, I'll tell you what, we've just had a bit of a jump start there. Well, they are off now. And I think Piria may or may not be in a little bit of trouble there with the jump start. So Piria indeed does take them through turn number 1 as it stands. We've got Moore and Pepper then battling for what would be P2. Round turn number 2, just up the inside, then you see Kimmerleinen battling to hold on to P4. We've got Belen Garcia and Sidorkova having a nice little duke out for P5. But as it stands, then Piria, who I believe may have a stop-go penalty, almost a bit of contact between the front 2 there. That was too close for comfort, that's for sure. May have a stop-go penalty. I'm not 100% sure on that. But as it stands, she does lead this race, although it's side-by-side then between her and Moore. But Moore's not able to indeed attack here because she's going defensive, and it almost goes 3 wide then as we come down in towards the braking zone here. And I'll tell you what, don't worry about it, because indeed Moore is not only going to defend the position, she's going to go up into the lead. Got contact there, and Piria has had contact there. I'm not too sure who that was with, but what a move that was by Sarah Moore. She leads the race here.
Yeah, that was a great pass. Again, Brooklyn's up the inside. She got the late braking side of things done properly, so she didn't allow anyone to go around the outside of her, which is what you see a lot of the time. When someone makes a move up the inside, they always sort of leave enough space, and then you see people creep back around the outside to have the inside for Luffield corner. But that was a great pass. She got the job done. It's her home circuit, and she's leading the race.
Yeah, we've got a driver that's just binned it into the wall there. I think that's... Oh, it's Marta Garcia. Marta Garcia's in the wall. So she's in P13 as it stands then, and she's had to tow to the pits. So now, potentially, Billy, I did say at the start of this esports series that we may have 8 or 9 winners. There's an opportunity for our 8th winner to come here from the reverse grid race. Moore has not won before. Pepper has, Sidorkova has, and Schiff hasn't. So it's between Moore and Schiff as it stands. Neria Marti then in P5. But, well, Tasman Pepper, she likes the taste of victory, and she will not be giving this opportunity up easily at all here. But Moore with an opportunity to potentially win this race, and wow, give it all you got, because this could be a very, very exciting one. But wow, the big story of the race is that Marta Garcia is in P13 as it stands.
Mate, Tasman Pepper, I'm backing her. I don't think it's happening for you today, Luke. I mean, the pace that she showed in quali, she qualified 4th. Obviously having that incident in race 1, she's going to be wanting to get the victory, so my money's on Pepper.
Well, you know, I really feel sorry for anyone watching race number 1 where I said that Billy was here for his expertise, because unfortunately, I'm telling you now, he is wrong. So it is Moore that leads this race. It is 2nd position then for Pepper. And wow, Schiff and Sidorkova. Schiff's up to P3, look. So Sidorkova has got a battle on her hands as well here. And this is testament to the drivers over the course of the season, Billy, showing a lot more pace, you know, as the season's gone on. A lot of these drivers were near the back end of the grid, if we're going to be completely honest, if we're going to be brutally honest. And now they find themselves at the front and, wow, looking very comfortable also.
Yeah, they really are. They're starting to excel. Obviously, we are missing a few of the big names, but in general, they have upped their game. And it's just practice makes perfect, especially with a racing driver. Some of them take to the sim sort of racing world a lot quicker than others. Some it takes a bit more time. Obviously, there are certain things in a simulator that you do lack that you get in real life, which is obviously the feel of the car moving around underneath you and bits and pieces like that. And obviously, any sort of tyre wear, the feeling of the tyres on the contact patch with the road. But the sort of techniques stay the same, and normally you find the technically good drivers in terms of brake shapes and throttle application, they normally get to grips with a simulator a lot quicker than other drivers who may be a little bit sort of relaxed with their techniques, but just maybe a bit more committed. Obviously, real life racing, when you're going at these speeds that they're doing right now, it's obviously a bit of a fear factor that comes into it as well.
Yeah, you say committed. Moore through there, she was caught up just out of Cops, just in towards Maggotts and Beckett's, and well, on the exit of those 2 corners, she managed to indeed have a nice little gap. So she is very much committed, not too worried about her rearview mirror, and I think she's taking a leaf out of Marta's book from earlier in the season. Got it right this time. I've got the saying right this time, where indeed she's using attack as a form of defense. She's just looking forward, just making sure she hits her braking points, make sure she's hitting her lines, hitting the apexes, and well, you know, she holds the inside line. There's no way that indeed Pepper can make an overtaking. See, oh, almost made the contact, and whoa, the front 2 nearly got taken out. Pepper's the one who's going to be spun around. She's going to end up down into P5, and wow, no, P6 here. And I tell you what, Moore has now got a 2.1 second advantage. It could have been curtains for both drivers there. And Pepper, well, that's the 2nd time that she's been involved in an incident today. That was definitely on her that time there, Billy. But Moore is going to live to fight another day here. And as it stands, the front 2 are yet to win a race. And as I say that, Sidorkova moves up into P2. So redemption then for indeed Sidorkova. Although Schiff and Sidorkova are swapping places like it's going out of fashion right now. Well, Sidorkova is just about ahead. No, there's Schiff. So there's Schiff just in front. All of a sudden, Neria Marti's in behind. This is going to be beautiful here for Sarah Moore, who leads this race. She's got an opportunity to drive away as these all lose time, lose tenths, lose seconds almost. Around the right-hander here, almost a bit of contact and the Shift was so committed round the outside there. Pins Sidorkova onto the apex, which means she loses speed. Neria Marti then is now trying to get into the, well, they're nearly in her clutches as it stands here for a potential podium. It's 1.6 seconds to lead though, and well, race 1 was a little bit messy, but race 2 is a spectacle all on its own.
Wow, Pepper, I've just tipped her to win the race, and then she makes the same mistake as in race 1. That's so disappointing to see. Oh my God, Sidorkova.
Wow, sorry to cut you off there, Sidorkova. Wow, there was just about a car's width up the inside to make the move up. Oh, that's a beautiful move up towards Stowe. And wow, Schiff has been absolutely mugged off there. Billy, what a move that was. Sorry for cutting you off, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great move right up the inside. 2 wheels pretty much on the grass going up the hanger straight there from Sidorkova. And look, she's got, Naomi Schiff is not giving up here. She really is. And I think, is there a slowdown penalty there? She moved to the inside. It almost looked like she slowed down. And we've got another potential shift around the outside overtake here at turn 1.
Oh, this is sensational stuff. Shift then back up into P2. Sidorkova, how late can she go on the brakes here? Well, late enough to almost have a little bit of Shift actually gets ghosted there. Oh, side-by-side action then as they come up towards turn 3. Bit of maybe contact between Sidorkova and Marty. No, not at all. This is sensational stuff. And actually, Agron now closing in behind here to potentially get involved for a battle for P2. And meanwhile, Moore is able to get a 2.3 second advantage. This is sensational stuff. It really is here then. Shift trying to hold on to P2. She has to get a long way around here. Sidorkova has now got that opportunity to go around a long way as well. But as you can see here, she gets boxed out wide. The door's going to be left wide open for Neria Marti. And Neria Marti does not need 2 invitations to make an overtake. We've seen that across this season thus far. And it just looks like the exit speed Sidorkova is able to carry is just so much faster than Shift. But Shift is just able to keep that car on the apex, not give up any opportunity. As I say that, she has left the room here, but again, she just pins Sidorkova onto the apex, and I still think she's just about ahead here, up towards Maggotts and Beckett's, and Naomi Schiff, is she going to hold on to P2? They can't go through there side by side. No, they can't. Sidorkova has to back out, and actually, Neria Marti now with an opportunity, and Billy, they are racing in parts of this racing circuit you are not supposed to race on.
I mean, this is such impressive drive, and this is what we wanted to see. It's aggressive with both the attack and defense. Naomi Shift there, a little bit cheeky at Copse Corner there. You have the luxury of having tarmac runoff on the back of the curb, and her aggressive turning sort of strategy to pin Sidorkova on the curb. She ran wide a little bit there, and in real life you'd be getting a track warning, track limit warning there. So I'll be interested. She probably has got a warning of some sort for that. She didn't get a sort of any penalty where she had to sort of give up any lap time, so she was obviously right on the cusp, but she is fighting hard for P2 here, and this is just completely handing Sarah Moore the victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that would be the 8th different winner of the season, which I may or may not have predicted. Hopefully that comes in, and you can't see it on camera, but Billy is face palming. You know, sometimes the guy that has no idea has every idea. It's just the way it works sometimes. Just pull a number out of a hat and you're right. As we come around the first few corners here, it is indeed Shift still leading the way, and well, she's got a little bit of solace in the back of her, or in the rearview mirror right now, because you can see that Neria Marti is piling on that pressure to the Russian of Sidorkova. And again, this is just handing an opportunity here for Moore. But not only is it going to be her first victory of the season, but home soil, Billy. We said it potentially could happen. Only qualified P8 in race number 1. Maybe we weren't that, I don't know, that optimistic for our chances if we were being realistic, but here we are.
Yeah, it's the thing with being sort of mid-pack in this sort of league. Obviously, it's a full reverse grid. It's not very unlike most championships where you normally get sort of the top 6 or top 8 reversed for if they do have any form of reverse grid race. Like Sarah Moore was sort of in that range. We can see here Neria Marti running off the back of the curb there. Obviously, there's a bit of a room for sort of being able to use the extra bit of tarmac there, and she's taken full advantage of it. Nice line through Maggotts and Beckett's here. She comes onto the hanger straight, and it's all neat and tidy. These girls are kind of, the gaps have got a bit bigger now. It's less wheel-to-wheel action. There's only 5 minutes on the clock as well, so we might see a bit more action later on in the race. But no, this has been some great driving in general. Tasman Pepper's back up to P5, and I'm just a bit gutted really, because I thought she had a real chance here to win this race. And it was just a bit of a silly mistake coming out of turn 3 there.
Yeah, these things happen in motorsports. We've seen that quite often in the W Series Esports League. Again, from week 1, these drivers, some of them had never been sim racing before, ever, to see the improvement. I say sim racing, I use that as in terms of computer games. A lot of these drivers would have had sim experience in terms of their official team sims and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of iRacing, that's what I mean by that statement there. So I had to be really careful there. I don't want to indeed upset all the sim elitists out there. They'll be coming at me with pitchforks. It's not ideal. But yeah, it is indeed a battle for P2 as it stands. And well, Pepper is closing up, and actually Pepper's dragging Agron along as well. So maybe with 4 minutes to go, we may have a little bit of party mode at the end of this race. 4 minutes, 10 seconds to go. More, about 2.7 seconds clear. And actually, she was losing a little bit of time between these drivers, as they did indeed, like Billy said, had a a bit of a gap between each driver, but now they've closed right up again, and they're going to close, and they're going to lose a little bit of time here. You can see that Sidorkova has taken, well, she got on the brakes a lot earlier there, and she tried to punch out the exit, and actually Neria Marti lost a little bit of time, but Naomi Schiff still in second position, and actually, even if they do catch up to more, if Schiff was to win this race, it would still be a new race winner. Neria Marti, Sidorkova almost side by side then as they come through Cops here, and wow, are they all going to run wide? Seems like the line they've taken actually now is a lot better indeed from all drivers concerned. Through Maggots and Beckett's then, and again, you can't really go through here side by side. You can put a lot of pressure on a driver in front though to make a mistake, and as you can see here, no one's making those errors. But Schiff, she's going to be loving this, licking her lips at the opportunity of a P2, because in behind they are really, really battling. Actually, Pepper has just dropped off ever so slightly, and yeah, you can see not really anywhere near this battle for a podium. And you have 3 drivers here battling for second position and third, so it's a podium opportunity. You don't want to be coming fourth here. It's like coming last, Billy, surely, after a whole race like this.
Yeah, when you fought so hard and you are so close with the people around you, and you come out with not getting a podium in this situation, it would be devastating. I mean, they can see Naomi Schiff here. The gap is opening up. The two, Sidorkova and Marti, are really now starting to battle between themselves. And Sidorkova, this is such a hard position to be in as a racing driver, where you're in between 2 cars. You've got a car attacking you from behind. You're also trying to make the pass on the person in front of you who's defending. It really is a game of sort of cat and mouse, because you're trying to make the move up the inside, then that's covered off, and then next thing you know, the driver behind you is trying to come around the outside. So it's a really difficult situation for her to be in. She's obviously losing a lot of time because of the situation she finds herself in. And it actually looks like Neria Marti coming onto the Wellington straight here. She looks in a good position to get the move done. She's going to pull to the outside. Oh, I think there's maybe a bit of contact on the straight there. She didn't, maybe trying to get that slipstream as long as possible, and she just made a mistake and actually hit the back of Sidorkova's car, completely lost momentum. That's a bit of a silly mistake to make, especially in that position. She could have really challenged into Brooklands and Luffield there, and you can see the gaps opened up a little bit, but I'm sure we'll see her at the end of Hangar Straight being back on top of Sidorkova.
Yeah, that was really, really strange there down the Wellington/Hangar Straight, that I'm going to call it from now on, just to make my life easier. And then we've got Wellington/Hangar Straight, that's number 2, coming up very shortly. But yeah, that was really strange. Like, it was almost like she tried bump drafting, and you can't really do that in these cars, because it's like Robot Wars with Chaos, the robot. You probably won't remember this, Billy. This is, again, showing my age. Where you just scoop the car up in front of you. Your car's so low at the front. So yeah, it's a very, very strange one there. But again, they're all still around, still battling. Sidorkova's been gifted a few tenths here. It is more by 0.8 of a second now. When we come up to the final lap, this is going to be very close indeed. It's now 0.7 of a second. So between the front 2, it is Moore and Schiff. And again, regardless of who wins this race, they would indeed be a new race winner in the series. But if they start battling, we know we've got a multiple race winner in behind of Sidorkova. Neria Marti, of course, a race winner so far this season. We've got Pepper as well in P5, a race winner. So there are 3 drivers then willing to pick up the pieces. That is for certain. And actually Schiff here, again, may have just lost a little bit of time. So Sarah Moore on the final lap then of our reverse grid race. Ironically, this has been cleaner than race number 1. How that works, I do not know. The race number 2 has always been the carnage race of the season, that's for certain, just because of the nature of the reverse grid. But Moore then, just got to keep your car on to the tarmac. And actually, Schiff's now P5, so not so sure what's happened there. And Schiff now all of a sudden has dropped right down the order, maybe putting a little bit too much pressure on, maybe trying a little bit too hard and overdriving the car then, Billy. But wow, Sarah Moore's got an opportunity here. She cannot throw this away now. Surely 2.3 seconds in the lead of Sidorkova, and we would have our 8th different winner. What's happened to Schiff?
I have no idea what's happened to Naomi Schiff there. She caught that gap up. For me, Sarah Moore must have made a mistake for that gap to close down, because it was fairly consistent, about 2.5 seconds. And the next time you look at the battle, it's 0.7. So I think there was probably maybe a slight lapse of concentration from Sarah Moore, a little mistake creeping into her drive. And obviously, this will be her first win. So there's a bit of pressure, especially on her home race. There's a lot of pressure that rides on it. But Naomi Schiff, I have no idea what's happened there, because she went into turn 3 Village Corner, and she was pretty set, really. It looked like nothing really was going to phase her. The gap was about 1 second, so I'm not too sure. She must have had a fairly big error, maybe a spin down at turn 3 to cost her that many positions.
It's not going to bother Sarah Moore, though. Big opportunity pretty much taken right now. A few more corners to go then. come through Stowe for the very final time here in race number 2. Of course, we've still got a feature race to go. And wow, now it is indeed 2 corners to go. We've got a left, and then we've got a right that just continues to go on. And this will be the longest ever right that Sarah Moore would have embarked upon. Here we go then, around the final turn here. And Sarah Moore is going to take the checker flag. She is going to become the 8th different winner of the W Series Esports League. And she is going to be absolutely over the moon. Sirokova will finish in 2nd, Neria Marti in 3rd. Then we've got Pepper in 4th, and Schiff finishes in 5th position. And Billy, well, we said it was potentially going to be a special day here. We had an inkling that she might do pretty well here today, but did we have that much confidence in that? Maybe not, backed up of the previous performances in this esports league. Let's not talk about anything outside of the esports league here in terms of performance. And well, she's delivered here today in a home circuit.
Sarah Moore, what a drive. Like I say, for her to get her first win, that's always sort of a bit of relief and pressure off the driver when they start finally getting race victories rather than sort of being on the edge of the podium and sort of top 5 positions. When you hit your first race win, you really know you've executed, you've done a great job from start to finish. That's what she did. She stayed out of trouble, and she just drove her own race. And I think that really showed at the end there, her home race, and she got victory.
As you say, God save our queen. It is Sarah Moore then that picks up race number 2 here in our reverse grid race. Oh, race number 3 is going to be a cracker.
Sarah Moore, congratulations. The home win. Donuts at the end. This is what dreams are made of.
Yeah, I think I've kind of slowly been building up. So yeah, to get the home win was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you did it in real style as well. And when you got out in front, you had a decent gap, but right at the end, you were, I think, like 8/10 or something. It was getting a bit tight.
It was. Yeah, I knew off the start I just had to get Vicky, and then the people behind would battle. Taz unfortunately caught the back of me and put her into a spin. So that left me a nice gap. But I think the nerves just slowly started to get the better of me. I was just trying so hard to keep it on the track for the win. So.
But it's a nice way on the final week of the Esports League to tick off that win because, you know, you have been here week on week, getting better every single week, but you all put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, that's it. We all spend so much time, you know, doing laps and laps around all of the circuits. And when you're doing a different track each week, it takes a lot of time to learn some of the tracks. So, yeah, it's nice to end it on a high.
Oh, well done. One more race to go. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if we just look at the points leaderboard, we can see, even though she's not here, we know Weitska Visser has won this last time out. Marta Garcia confirmed in 2nd and Arina Sudakova confirmed in 3rd, which is a good job because she's actually not able to compete in the final race because she's got to get on a plane and go somewhere to compete on track. Nerea Marti is 4th, but close behind still Tasman Pepper and Caitlin Wood. Ayla Agren is in 7th, Belen Garcia 8th, Sarah Moore in 9th, and just jumping into the top 10 is Naomi Schiff. So guys, we were expecting some of these places to start being confirmed, and we've now had our top 3 confirmed. Look, coming to you first, it's not really a huge surprise from what we've seen over the last 10 weeks that they are the top 3.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily in that order from week 1. I would have backed Sidorkova to be 2nd and Marta Garcia to be 3rd. And actually, I don't think really Marta announced herself as someone who could be in the top 3 until it gets to sort of week 4. So yeah, for Marta's improvement speed, it would be so interesting if the championship was to start now and we had 10 weeks moving forward to see where it really led to then. But yeah, it's the top 3 that we kind of knew were going to happen very early in this championship, and a very deserving top 3 indeed.
And Billy, just looking at those first couple of races that we've had, great to see Sarah Moore winning her first race for W Series, either on track or in the Esports League. But I suppose this is what happens because you will notice that we have fewer drivers this week. And Weitska Visser, she'd normally be there gathering up these fastest laps. That's not happening. It is giving other people opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, the level of competition that we've had in this series so far has been super high. There's obviously been lots of accidents as well that has taken people like Sarah Moore out of contention in races where they probably would have had a chance. And obviously opportunities don't come about too often in the world of motorsport. You kind of have to make them count when you can. And she's definitely delivered on that home race. great result in race 2 for her. She's still got a little bit of work to do, obviously, in terms of we'd like to see her a bit higher up and fighting for higher positions in race 1 and 3, off the back of maybe some stronger qualifying performances. But if we're looking at a driver and getting their first victory on the whole, it's a great achievement for her.
Look, we have one race to go.
That's it. And it's done. Pretty sad about it. But the one big thing for me is, even if we get a new winner right now, I predicted correctly. 8 or 9 winners. It's 8 currently in the W Series. That's it. That's all it's been about the whole 10 weeks, just getting that prediction correct.
That is, you did sound incredibly relieved in race 2. I must say that. I mean, it was nothing really to do with Sarah Moore. It was all about your prediction coming right. But it has been fantastic to get another winner on the board. We've been talking about Sarah as a Brit. Let's focus on another Brit. Jess Hawkins is a stunt driver with some incredible movies to her name. Let's find out a little bit more about her.
I can race, I can drift, I can do stunts, so I'm kind of an all-round package, I think.
Jess, to me, when I first met her, she was an enigma. I didn't know whether she was quiet or arrogant.
I was one of the 11 selected driver from over 2,500 applicants to become one of the stunt drivers in Fast and Furious Live. Hello, Vin, if you remember me. Probably doesn't. Only met him once. So I turned up to the audition and there was drifters from all over the world that had flown in. I felt about this big because I'd learned the day before how to do a donut. It was mad. It was completely different to racing. I miss racing and there's no substitute to racing.
Well, after 10 weeks, this is it. We've come to our final qualification for our final race of the W Series Esports League. Let's hand back to Luke and Billy.
Thank you, Lee. It's the final race of the W Series Esports League, the inaugural W Series Esports League. My name is Luke Crane, and I am joined once again for the final time. I'm going to miss this guy. It's Billy Munger.
How's it go, mate? Last one of the season.
Oh, I'm excited, man. Like, race 2 was... I don't know, I just didn't expect race 2 to be quite as competitive as it was. So now we're going to head to race 3, and let's hope it's not like race 1. We got a little surprise, though. We've got Kiyama joining us for the final race, which puts a smile on everybody's face. So how well could Kiyama do? Imagine that Kiyama goes and wins the final race today of the W Series Esports League. How good would that be? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning right now. Like, not ideal. I don't even know what time it is for her, actually. It's around about that time. It's early, but that'd be a hell of a story.
That would be quite a unusual way to end the season. Like you say, it's she's always had quite a tough time of it because obviously being out in Japan and timings and everything. So the fact that she's actually getting up to do quali in race 3, pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Taz and Pepper are on board with right now then. And as we can see, some times have come in. And there's Marta Garcia. Had a race to forget in race number 2. But she is provisionally on pole position. Wood then is in 2nd position. We've got Pepper in 3rd. Marty is in 4th spot. Then Agron, Vulvend and Kimalainen. That rounds out there your top 6. So again, a few drivers yet to get a lap time in here. So I believe with Silikova off jet setting to her next race destination, we will have 14 drivers on the grid, I believe. And again, we'll hopefully have all 14 qualify, which makes it very easy for us to call that. But again, it is indeed, 59.420. That's the quickest time of the day in terms of qualifying, Billy. We saw a 59.5 from Marta Garcia, and normally we see that the sessions are indeed a bit slower. But Marta Garcia, I think she's got a bit of a chip on her shoulder right now after race 2, and she is giving it everything.
Yeah, she wants to end the season strong. She's been obviously getting the pole position in race 1. It's such a long lap as well that a 1/10 of a second gain is it just means that she's like it's barely anything. It's less than 100th for each corner. So as much as we see sort of the drivers get slower from Q1 to Q3 to the second quali for race 3, Marta Garcia, she just seems to be improving. It's sort of a trend of her season in general, really, improving week in, week out. And yeah, she is the class of the field out there at the minute.
Yeah, could not agree with you more there. That is a fact up towards Maggots and Beckett's then. We've got Sarah Moore then with indeed a lot of confidence coming into this race, coming through Maggots and Beckett's here. And wow, what sort of qualifying time can she do now? She's got all that renewed confidence, let's say. Onto the hangar straight here. And yeah, it looked pretty tidy for it. Didn't look like it was the quickest of lap times, but again, not a banker time set as of yet then for Sarah Moore with 3 minutes 50 seconds to go. She's only going to get one more shot around this circuit here, and I'm wondering whether she has indeed already had a lap time invalidated here, because this kind of looks like around a time in qualifying where you would have completed 2 full laps. And up towards the final couple of corners here, and our winner from race number 2. Will she be able to put it in there somewhere on the front 2 rows? Give herself an opportunity. We already saw in race number 1 that qualifying was absolutely key for Marta Garcia, but for anyone behind, it wasn't really a factor because it was a very interesting race, that's for sure. Across the line then, and where does Sarah Moore position herself? It's up to P6 then, and well, absolute pace here, the raw pace just isn't quite there in race number 3. And as we say, that Naomi shift has just put it up into P5, Billy. But it is Marta Garcia then, as it stands. We've all got one more lap to go. 59.420, which is an epic time here again. Like we said, quicker. And she, again, is the one to beat.
Yeah, Marta Garcia, when it comes down to qualifying, even in recent weeks when Visser's got the job done and won races, it's normally been Marta Garcia. If she isn't first, she's been second, and actually she's done a 1:59.3 now. So again, just finding extra hundredths time by time, and I think that just shows the level that these drivers are at. That they're finding hundredths of a second now, rather than sort of half a second here, half a second there. They are really sort of at the limit the whole entire lap, which is it's great to see.
Yeah, good spot there. 0.4 of a second now clear of everybody. She'll want a lights to flag victory again, just to indeed, like we said earlier on, this is the last opportunity that these drivers may have to race against each other before next season. You know, we don't know who of these drivers will be on the grid for next season. It could be all of them. And well, you can set your marker early here and let everyone know that I am the one to beat moving forwards. 0.4 then play is for first and second position. Pepper then in third spot. And Pepper, she's had really good race starts, but has made 2 errors during this this round so far at Silverstone. She's definitely got the pace to be potentially winning races here if she can cut those errors out. But I'm excited to see her start from third here, Billy. I think there's a big opportunity for Pepper to potentially go out and win this race. As I say that, she's on the front row now.
Wow, yeah, that's a great lap. Perfect timing from you there, Luke. And this is going to be such an interesting race to sort of commentate on and be involved with, because it is the last race of the season. They don't have to think about sort of what track's coming up next, anything like that. Like I say, they want to go out on a high, set themselves up for potentially 2021 campaign, if, like you say, if they're on the grid or not. Sarah Moore there into the top 5, so a better qualifying. And as I say that, she gets demoted to 6. So the commentator's curse is coming into 4.
Yeah, the commentator's curse there, Billy. You are a real official commentator now. That is how it works. That is the baptism of being a commentator. And Marta Garcia takes pole position. 0.3 of a second clear then of Pepper. I think we may see some fireworks from those two in the first sector at least. We've got Wood then, who is in P3. So that's your top 3. Marta Garcia, she is going to be absolutely gutted with how race 2 went. Race 1 went absolutely swimmingly. Big opportunity here, Billy, for her to go out there, you know, lights the flag victory. But Pepper, she's not going to let her have it easy. She's also a race winner, of course, herself.
Yeah, Pepper, we've seen she's sort of been fighting through race 1 and race 2. She's made mistakes, but she's fought for positions hard. So this final race of the season, I'm excited to see who's going to come out on top, what the action's going to be like. We're at the home of motorsport. We're at Silverstone. It can't be that bad.
It is the final race then of the inaugural W Series Esports League, and we are off here then at Silverstone. And Marta Garcia has got herself an absolute wonder start here then through turn number 1. No pressure from behind realistically here. I tell you what though, again, the second phase here from Wood has been electrifying, closing up just in behind, but I think the number 19 car is going to be pretty good. It has to go defensive though, indeed, in towards turn number 2. And this is a lot better start from everybody as it was in race number 1, where that was very, very messy indeed. We've actually got a battle there for potential P2. And looks like Silverstone is on the timing sheet here. We'll get confirmation as to whether she is here. And actually, it turns out she isn't here. So Silverstone's got a name on the timesheets. Again, that's good for marketing. It's all good for her. But in the lead, then it is Marta Garcia. 0.7 of a second in the lead here. You see Wood then is in second spot. Pepper and Marty, that's the ones we want to be looking at here, really, as they went side by side then through the mid part of this Silverstone circuit. We've got Kim Alainen and Kuyama and Piria having a battle as well. But here we go. This is the battle now for third position. It's Pepper that leads out from Marty, from Moore, from Agron, Belen Garcia and Schiff. Then in half a second behind them is Wolvend in P9. Grisham is only 0.2 behind, and then there's a gap. It is Kim Alainen, it's Piria, it's Koyama, and that is your 13 drivers that are indeed taking part of this final race then. We're on board then with Sarah Moore, of course, race winner from race number 2 here today at Silverstone. And she is right in behind Neria Marti. And you can see that all front 5 are very, very close indeed. And I tell you what, I think that Caitlin Wood may be close enough here to put the pressure on Marta Garcia. As they come along the hangar straight here, and maybe not quite close enough actually underneath the bridge then, up towards Stowe Corner here on lap number 1. 0.4 of a second separates the 2 drivers. Not quite close enough here. And again, this is, it's one of those situations, Billy, it's an uphill braking zone where you may want to get a little bit greedy there to try and close the lead on the leader, but ultimately you don't want to be making a mistake to really knock off your opportunity for the next lap.
Yeah, Stowe Corner, it's such an easy corner to get greedy on the entry. Obviously they have that tarmac runoff, and we're coming through the last corner now. Caitlin Wood just under about half a second behind Marta Garcia, and we're seeing Agron falling down the leaderboard, so I'm not sure what happened there.
I think there might be some contact there. There was definitely too wide coming in towards the final corners of lap number 1. Whether there was some contact or not, Agron's now 3.1 seconds behind Kimmerlein, and Volvend and Belen Garcia. They're all still in pretty close proximity here, so it might be worth looking just momentarily at P9, P8, and P7, see what has happened there. I think Agron, she dropped down the order like a stone, didn't she? So, yeah, ultimately it's not going to have worked out too well there for her, but we're on board then with P4. Neria Marti trying to make a move here for a potential podium spot. We've got Pepper then just in front here. You can see here that Neria Marti's opened up the corner a lot better than the drivers in front here, so she would have been able to maximize her power on the exit. But again, she's now gone tight onto the apex. You can see that P2 there, Caitlin Wood, has got a beautiful exit then as they come along the old start finish straight here. But the front 4 are off into the distance here now. They've got 1.4 second advantage of Sarah Moore, but we know that if Moore gets an opportunity, she will take it. Look at the slipstream, look how difference in speed they get as they come up then towards Cops Corner, or through Cops Corner. Looks like Marta Garcia now 0.7 of a second lead here. It's all about what can Caitlin Wood do through Maggots and Beckett's here. This is where you can lose a lot of time. This is where you can gain a lot of time. If you're too committed, you're going to lose a lot of time towards that right-hander there. And I think Caitlin Wood has lost a lot of time there. She went in very, very acutely, which means she indeed made a mistake through the entrance. And actually, she gained up to about 0.2 of a second on entry towards Maggots. And then through the exit, she actually lost about 2.5 of a second there. Here we go then. Slipstream mode is engaged. Neria Marti then's going to have to take the outside line towards Stowe Corner here, and just about gets her nose in front. She squeezes Pepper onto the apex, which then gives her the opportunity for P3. And now she's got to try and indeed gain a little bit of time here, gain a few tenths of a second, not be dealing with the pressure from behind. Runs a little bit wide though, indeed there, which is not indeed going to help her during this race. It is a longer race though, it's a longer race format, but she doesn't want to lose touch of P1 and P2. But Neria Marti, she's on the charge here, Billy.
Yeah, that was a great overtake. We've seen that in the Formula 1 races for many years now, around the outside of Stowe. It's such a wide corner that if you compromise someone on the entry and just make it a little bit tighter for them, it's such a high-speed commitment entry that they don't really know how much to commit on the entry. And you see Tasman Pepper, she keeps having a look into turn 4 here, and Marty's actually been caught mirror watching in my opinion there, because the move wasn't really on, and now she's compromised her own exit by running deep into turn 4 there down at the loop. She's now on to the Wellington straight, P4, P3, they're battling for that last podium position, and Tasman Pepper's covering the inside, but is Marty going to go around the outside? Yes, she hangs on to the position around the outside of Brooklands there, through Luffield. And there's so many different lines through this section of corners. You can see how some people go for the tighter line, some people run it a bit wider, V it off a bit more, as it's known in the racing world, so you can get a clean exit, get the power down. And you can see now Tasman Pepper, she's actually up the inside now, going into Cops Corner. This is a high commitment corner, and Marty's backed out there. And that's a great move from Tasman Pepper, set up from many corners in advance.
I don't think Neria Marti backed that at all there. I think Pepper's just absolutely nailed it. That was a superb move there by Pepper. Great racing by both of them. And in all fairness now, thankfully, Billy, you waited to race number 30 of the season to show that they don't really need me on commentary here. Great job there, indeed, as you usually do. But now it is indeed Marta Garcia leading, 1.4 seconds in the lead. Pepper is in third position, in behind Wood, who's in second. But it's still Pepper and Neria Marti battling for position. Sarah Moore then, she'll be maybe looking for a potential podium in this race if these two in front of them still battle. And look how close it is in front here. Marti in behind. Let's get an onboard of Marti behind Pepper. That'd be fantastic to see these two battling for position here. Look how close they are. And indeed, you can just see a loss of the rear there ever so slightly, which is going to indeed compromise the exit here. And you need to be flat out as soon as possible. Actually, looks like they're coming to lap Koyama. So It's not looking like the dream ending of the season that me and Billy were wishing for Kayama to get a huge result. It's just great to see her here. Indeed, she's had her trials and tribulations with this series. Indeed, it is really early in the morning for her, but she still turns up when she can, which is fantastic to see, and I really cannot wait for her to see her and indeed all of these drivers here embark on the W Series for real, which will be coming up very, very shortly next year. So it's going to be exciting times. Here we go then. Down the back straight we go here, and actually it looks like Marty's lost a little bit of time here, so Pepper may be able to start closing in on Wood. So Wood was able to keep that gap or maintain that gap here because she had the slipstream of Marta Garcia, but Garcia has ran away with it a little bit here, so now Wood is going to be maybe under a little bit of pressure from these two drivers here. I did indeed say that Marty dropped back. She's dropped back now into the clutches of Sarah Moore. So Moore, of course, and the race winner now, 8th race winner. Few people predicted that, that's for sure. But it did indeed come true. Sarah Moore trying to look for that podium spot. She's got to be careful because these two have been racing side by side, lap after lap after lap. They've been barely able to find space on track to go side by side. So she's going to shape up a move. She's going to have to absolutely nail it. Again, Marta Garcia doing everything she needs to do. Qualified pole, the quickest time we've seen all day. I tell you what, there's a mistake here by Pepper. Neria Marty, she can get a very good exit here on towards the back straight up towards Stowe. There is the opportunity. And as we come then along this straight here, you can see indeed, it looks like Moore's just been dropped off here. Marty is absolutely flown through the middle sector here at Silverstone. She's been forced to go around the outside then. She can get on the brakes a lot later here though. Indeed, it's an uphill braking zone. And well, is she going to look for a little bit of an over and under? Not quite close enough, I don't think. She's going to force Pepper to go defensive here in towards the final couple of corners. And wow, how much curb then? Well, no curb at all there by Pepper. I think that's very, very clever there, Billy, actually. She could have taken a very tight line on the curb, potentially made a mistake, but actually, in not taking the curb, she's kind of positioned her car in the middle of the circuit and not really given an opportunity here for Pepper to make a move. But I tell you what, or Marty to make a move, sorry. Marty now has to go around the outside, and she's gone in there very, very tight indeed. And now you can see there is a mistake here from Pepper. And now look at this then. We've got Sarah Moore, who's going to have to go the long way round here. And well, I tell you what, Marty was just about boxed in there, but she's just got enough momentum. And you can see here, Sarah Moore's just taken a completely different line, trying to open up the corners, trying to get a punchy exit here, but it is still normal service resumed. Wow, this is fantastic stuff. And well, as they come along the back straight here, Billy, there's an opportunity for an overtake.
Yeah, we got Marty here, diving to the outside here, going into Brooklyn. She's going to commit to go around the outside, and there's room, keep your foot in, look, she's done it, using all the time. Oh, wow. But Tasman Pepper being really aggressive with her defending there, just went in too deep into Luffield and has lost the position. But now she did get a fairly clean exit out of there, so she might be able to come back at Marty. Sarah Moore for me, she has got a box office seat for all of this. She sat there wondering, do I get involved? She clearly wants to. Oh my God, we got contact up into turn one, the old turn one into Cops Corner there. Who was that? Who actually, I think Tasman Pepper made a contact with the back of Marty, and that's 3 races and 3 incidents for Tasman Pepper. So that's not been a clean weekend.
No, that is 3 from 3 there, and that was definitely avoidable. So what happened there is Neria Marty's moved over quite late before the braking zone. So it was before the braking zone. Definitely wasn't under braking, and Pepper has gone one way and was defended from it and didn't want to let off the gas, and unfortunately it's caused an incident there with Neria Marty, and Marty is going to be absolutely furious. There's one driver though who is not going to be so angry here, and that's Sarah Moore. She's up to P4 now, and now looking with a snifter of an opportunity at that podium. They are going to go through side by side here. Oh, that's sensational. Oh, Sarah Moore, take a bow. That is a delicious overtake here then at Silverstone. And wow, the confidence, we are saying, the renewed confidence running through the veins here of Sarah Moore. It must be ice. That was a beautiful move there, Billy.
That's great overtaking. In the last section of the circuit, Vale Club, round the outside, I think Tasman Pepper clearly wasn't expecting that. She covered the inside off and sort of was in a position to get a good exit, but Sarah Moore round the outside, she had the inside for the last corner at the circuit. She got the job done. She's coming under a bit of pressure now from Tasman Pepper. She's not giving up easily here, but Sarah Moore, like you say, she has really found some confidence. Getting a first win under your belt in any sort of form of motorsport, including the sim racing world in the Esports League, it's given her confidence. Now she finds herself on the outside. So look at that confidence again. She's hanging around the outside. She's got the inside now for Luffield. Oh, she's backed out of it. I thought she had that one there, but it's close racing. Tasman Pepper is now back into 3rd. Sarah Moore in 4th. at this rate, Naomi Schiff, who's only about a second and a half, she'll be on the back of this battle in no time.
Yeah, she's got podium pace, that's for sure. She's shown that across this week, that's for certain. Pepper, though, still holds on to what would be that podium position. The front two, they're off. They're in a distance here. It will be Garcia and Wood unless something drastic happens here with the last 8 minutes, although in this W Series we've seen drastic happen quite often, to be completely honest, so never write anything off here. But it is indeed this hellacious battle right now between 3 and 4, Pepper and Moore. It's about 0.3 of a second between the two here, so I thought that Moore might be able to drive away there. And also, she's just watched Marty and Pepper go at it and how aggressive both drivers were. So for her to have the confidence that Pepper wasn't going to be squeezing her too much to make that move up the inside, that does show, you know, especially seeing the aggression over the last couple of laps, does show the confidence she has in her own ability and the car.
Yeah, I mean, confidence is what makes overtakes like that. You have to be confident what you've got underneath you. Use all the grip, especially in race format. Obviously, this is a bit longer of a race. Race 3, it's 20 minutes rather than 15. So obviously, you've got to deal with the tyre degradation and how that it comes into effect, which you do have in sim racing. So it's another challenge for the drivers. Marta Garcia is obviously down the road. Victory is looking pretty certain of her gap's 4 seconds, but Sarah Moore, she, like you said, she spent a few laps behind, sort of eyeing up where they were good, where they were weak, any overtaking opportunities between the likes of Tasmin Pepper and Marty, and now she's, for me, that move around the outside. I remember Lando Norris actually in particular doing that in F2 and how sensational everyone thought it was. There's some great racing going on out there, simple as that.
Whatever happened to Lando? What's he gone on to do?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, really.
Not a lot, really.
Not too.
I'm sure it'll be different, or the same. Of course, we know Lando's an absolute superstar these days. But this is the battle we want to watch right now. Again, for that podium position, Moore 0.4 of a second behind Pepper. Well, we know that Pepper isn't going to give it up, that's for certain. She's definitely given up on P2 and the win of this race. It's all about trying to keep then Sarah Moore behind. Shift now, 1.6 seconds behind, as Billy pointed out earlier, and really is closing in on that gap. Grisham, 4.4 seconds behind a potential top 5. Hannah would love to finish this season off with a top 5, but it's looking like it's not quite going to happen here. Then Volven, Agron, Belen Garcia in 9th, Kimmerlein rounding off the championship here with a top 10 as it stands. Then we've got Neri and Marty, who's going to be, again, furious. She's in P11. Koyama in P12. Imperia then is in P13. Says Silokova's 5 laps down. Well, she is a long way down right now because she's in an aeroplane, so she's not in the race. Don't worry about that. Ignore that. It's just the way the server is indeed set up. 4.3 seconds then is the lead, but this is the battle still here with 6 minutes to go on circuit. So we have got ourselves just about, yeah, it's going to be 3 laps remaining, including this one. So, yeah, it's going to be 3 laps remaining, including this one. Again, I'm not too sure, actually, with it being an extra, it might be 3 laps as they cross the line now. I don't know, it's going to be interesting here because it's all about where the leader crossed the line. 8 seconds. Now, if I've done my maths here correctly, Marta Garcia has just started the 3rd from last lap. Again, I shouldn't be doing mathematics while I'm live commentating. It just makes everybody on edge. It indeed confuses everybody. That's just not what we want to do here. There's Marta Garcia then, who leads the way. Again, it's going to be a lights to flag, solidifying her 2nd position in this esports league. Behind Beitska, Visser. I think this is the first time we've actually mentioned Beitska. She has been such a dominant champion this season, and also it just goes to show the W Series is a huge platform for these drivers to indeed drive in all sorts of series around the world. So, you know, congratulations, and you know, wish her the best of luck in her future endeavours or whatever she races. And of course, we will see her again for the W Series as well. Incredible stuff. Wood 2nd spot, then 5 seconds behind. Then got Pepper and Moore 0.6 between the 2 drivers. And actually, Schiff is starting to close up here, Billy. It was 1.6 seconds. Now it's around about 1.3.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that is maybe sort of delaying how quick Schiff's getting up to the back of them is the fact that Sarah Moore now, she's about 6-7 tenths behind Tasmin Pepper. So there isn't that constant pressure and sort of defensive positioning into certain corners like Stowe that we've seen for them when they were battling fairly hard. Now it seems to have Billy. Yeah, there's tyre temperatures. There's a lot of factors that are coming into play here, but really we need to see Sarah Moore close back up and just put a bit more pressure on Tasmin Pepper here. But Pepper is doing a great job. She's opened it out just over a second now. So for me, she's putting in a late sort of charge to try and, like you say, get out of that slipstream zone and sort of hold the position. And if anything, that's just going to make life for Sarah Moore more difficult. she's going to drop back to Shift without a slipstream, because Shift seems to have a bit more pace at the minute.
Yeah, well, we've seen that indeed Sarah Moore's had to really attack Pepper. Pepper's now obviously leading the way here, so she's not taking such harsh lines. She's taking the line she wants to take around this circuit. She can take a little bit of edge off, whereas Sarah Moore's been trying to take the most aggressive route possible. So we've seen in race 3, in the feature race, the last 5 minutes are always vital in terms of, it's not the tyre wear, it's the tyre temperatures. So the tyres sort of start acting like it's bubblegum. They've not got any grip whatsoever. We've seen drivers being able to manage it a lot better than others. Of course, Marta Garcia being one of those, Bites Kavissa being another one of those as well. Those two have been absolutely incredible at that. And some of these drivers have not really had the experience of being right at the sharp end of the grid throughout the season. So it's kind of being gung-ho from lights to flag, just try and get there as quickly as possible. So we're now starting to see the management phase here for some of the Esports Series participants. It's still Garcia, though, that leads here by 6.6 seconds as it stands. I think we've got 2 laps remaining here, then. It is going to be 2 laps remaining of this race. Wood, then, is in second spot. Pepper is in third. Now, Moore 1.1 second behind. Actually, Shift's now started to drop back as well here. She's now 2.1 seconds behind P4. Grisham now 4.7 seconds. And again, maybe Grisham could make a late charge here. Vulvend 2.6 behind in 7th position. Agron is 1.2 behind in 8th spot. Then Belen Garcia is in 9th position. Kimmerleinen in 10th. Neria Marti, by the way, she could have given up, to be fair, Billy. She fell outside that top 10. It's the last race of the season. Nothing really on the line for her. And she would have been really annoyed with how it happened as well, because she was definitely not at fault. She could have given up, but she has not given up, and she's showing that Spanish spirit.
Yeah, she is. I mean, like you say, she's had a harsh bit of luck over the 3 races here at Silverstone so far. She could have given up, but she hasn't. She's still going, fighting strong. And as we're coming on to now the last lap, I think, of this race, it's pretty tight over the line, but I'm pretty sure that is going to be the last lap here for Marta Garcia. She's got a massive gap to Wood. Caitlin Wood's gone under the radar. It's been a solid race from her. She's definitely not at the pace of Marta Garcia, who's leading, but again, a second position for her. Strong way to round out the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a strange one here, because it is, like you said, Billy, it's going to be tight in terms of time as to whether this is the last lap of the race or not. So we will get a better indication of that, indeed, as we come up towards Stowe. So it looks like we could be having an extra lap here. This might not be the last one. Again, we will indeed get that confirmed the further we go along in this circuit. Wood then still second by 7 seconds. And it doesn't matter about anyone behind Marta Garcia. It's all about Marta here when she crosses the line. Pepper then P3, 3.1 seconds now behind Wood. Moore is now 2 seconds behind. You see the gaps are just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And actually, the big move here really is Agron. Agron, P8 as it stands here, maybe with an opportunity to indeed overturn the deficit to Vulvend, who is in P7. So the number 17 and the number 5 drivers. Although it is indeed now about 1.4 seconds again here. So Vulvend just finding a second wind through Maggots and Beckett's. Then it is for Marta Garcia. She comes onto the hangar straight up towards Stowe then. And will this be the final time, or will it not be the final time? I guess remains to be seen. But I don't think it matters whether this is the final lap or not, because Marta Garcia has got such a huge lead here. And this is the sort of race, this is the bounce back race. She did this in race 1. Race 2 did not go to plan whatsoever. Again, the championship was already done and dusted. Our Esports League champion was Bites Kavissa. Indeed, of course, Bites not able to race here today, but Marta will want to indeed make it as close as indeed possible. Come up then towards the final couple of corners here. And again, I'm just not too sure as to whether this is the final lap or not. And well, will we get another lap here? Marta Garcia crosses the line, and will it be victory here at Silverstone in race number 2? She's slowing down. No, it is going to be the victory then for Marta Garcia. Wood is going to take P2, and then Pepper will take P3. And sorry to the ladies and gentlemen at home there. When the timing, some circuits, this just works out that they cross the line as it goes to 0. It's like very, very close. It's hard to call like that. It's just the way it is. But Marta Garcia is going to take the victory here. Wood in second. Pepper is in third position. And while there was nothing really on the line, Billy, for the final race, was it? You know, it was one of those races where you just kind of, some of the drivers would have just been like, I need to just get this done. I just want to get onto the next series I'm in and whatnot. But they're still taking it seriously here. There's still podiums up for grabs, and Marta Garcia just showing she is still the class of the field.
Yeah, and she really did show her class. She dominated again, like she has done on multiple occasions now through the course of this league, from start to finish. And yeah, a great job from her, a great job from all the drivers out there today, and a great way to round out the season at Silverstone. I mean, it's a great circuit. We've had some great racing, and I'm looking forward to maybe seeing hopefully another series of this W Series Esports League, because we have generally seen a lot of development from these drivers in terms of the whole package of being a racing driver. The sim world is an important part of it. It's becoming more and more important as every year goes on, and it's great to see the development, like I say, that we've seen from some drivers. Marta Garcia, still the class of the field, winning race 3 here at Silverstone today.
So it wouldn't be the W Series Esports League without mentioning Bajtska Vissa. Of course, she was champion before today even happened, and she is obviously off with racing opportunities herself this week, which is always good to see. So yeah, congratulations to Bajtska Vissa on being our inaugural W Series Esports League champion. But today at Silverstone, at the finale, it's all about Marta Garcia.
Yeah, Luke just rounded it all off very nicely for me, but let's just recap our leaderboard for the final time. Bajtska Vissa is the champion, Marta Garcia second, and Irina Sidorkova, despite not even doing that final race tonight, is confirmed in third place. Nerea Marti in fourth. Tasman Pepper and Caitlin Wood have battled just few points in it week on week, but they're Pepper fifth, Wood in sixth. Ayla Agrin, one of the newcomers to W Series this season, she is in seventh. And Belen Garcia, another debutante for 2020, in eighth. Sarah Moore is in ninth. And Naomi Schiff will be absolutely over the moon to get into the top 10. And there you can see all the other drivers who have taken part in the W Series Esports League over the last 10 weeks. But my goodness, that is it. Luke, tell me some of your highlights, because you have commentated on every single wheel rotation. What stands out for you?
I just think the spectacle of the whole thing, bringing new drivers to sim racing, new viewers to sim racing, and then getting moments like Brands Hatch, getting moments like Suzuka, things that you might not necessarily see in the real world because there's a little bit less risk involved, but just seeing them going wheel to wheel and how they've treated it so seriously, because ultimately, you know, some people, they frown upon sim racing. They don't see that there's any correlation between the real thing and indeed what I'm known for, the sim racing world. It's just great to see how serious it was taken. But for me, definitely, like I've already mentioned, Brands Hatch Suzuka, they blew my mind, genuinely blew my mind.
And Billy, when we start off something like this, you're never quite sure what you're going to get. We knew there were some big name drivers in there. We knew we were going to fantastic racetracks. And sometimes it just all came together perfectly.
Yeah, we've had some great racing, like Luke said. Suzuka, Spa, that last corner one. The drivers, that also, obviously, like Luke said, they're new to sim racing in general. It's opened my eyes to the sim racing world a lot. Obviously, this is during the sort of quarantine lockdown period. I've been able to spend a lot more time on the sim myself, and the respect and the overall package of being a racing driver and developing in every aspect so that you can go out and be classed as a professional and make a serious living from motorsport. I think that's what all these drivers on the grid are aiming for. That's what they want to achieve in their career, and this sort of platform that they've been given is a great opportunity for them to show off their strengths. We see the likes of Vissa now for the last round of the season. She's getting opportunities in the real world because of this. So it's been a really great season, and I hope we can do it again.
Absolutely. Bajtska Vissa, what a champion she's been. Gents, thank you very much for your company. Let's just keep in mind that this was a substitute for real racing. But my goodness, what a substitute it's been. The W Series Esports League has been an absolute blast. We hope you at home have enjoyed it as much as we have.
We do go green here. Unbelievable action. Wood has hit the grass. Bajtska Vissa will take the race victory. Oh, that's a huge crash there. It's the second race victory of the day then for Vissa. Oh, Belen Garcia, take a bow. That's superb. It's all about Vissa showing the dominance. Takes the victory. Emma Kimalainen winner here. And it's going to be a double win here for Sidorkova. Marta Garcia is shaping for the move. And wow, she gets it done as well. Oh, contact there between 3 and 4. That has not gone well at all. Belen Garcia will take the victory here. No way round the outside. No way round the outside. Yes way around the outside. Eaton gets completely cleaned out. Oh, that's sensational. Tara Moore, take a bow. Tasman Pepper will take the checkered flag. Oh, it's Sidorkova. Drag race here. Who's going to take it? It's going to be Marta Garcia. Visser, week in, week out, race in, race out. Now it's a bit more like that with Garcia. Marta Garcia and Silorkova there are out of this race. Timalainen taking a lot of curb there. Oh dear, that is huge. Sensational performance from Beitske Visser. Our first ever champion is Beitske Visser.